Another video, and today I decided to bring the last episode of the series where I teach you guys how to build a full stack application in React, Node, and MySQL. And since this is the last episode, as I mentioned several times in this course, I'm going to be showing you guys how to deploy the application. So the application is running perfectly when we run in our local host. I'll show you guys, but I decided that I want to show you guys how to deploy this so that anyone who wants to run this application can run in their computer. Now, a lot of you guys expressed that you guys wanted me to continue the series. However, the reason why I don't want to continue the series is not that I don't like the videos that I'm making. I actually loved making this series, but it's actually because I realized that this series has 17 episodes. So each episode that I post, a lot of people from my channel who are not watching the series won't be able to enjoy the episode. So especially right now, because I have a job, I have little time to make more videos. So, and I still post 3 times a week. I want those 3 videos per week to be accessible, but for the most amount of people in my channel, because just a small portion of my channel are watching the series. So I wanted to make videos so that everyone can watch. And for that reason, I decided to end the series at 17 episodes. And I think we did a lot of stuff. So for that reason, I want to make this video where I'm going to be showing you guys how to deploy this. And in order to do that, I'm going to be using 2 really cool services, which I've actually made videos in the past teaching you guys how to deploy application using these services. But basically, for the backend, I will deploy my API to Heroku, which is a really nice service. Over here you can see I already have the service. And for the front end, I'll probably be using Netlify, which I've made videos in the past teaching how to deploy a React app to Netlify, and I love it. It's free. It gives you an SSL certificate for free. It's a really good service. And for the database, I'll be using an extension in Heroku, which will allow us to deploy a MySQL database, and that's going to be amazing as well. So it's going to be a long video because deploying is something that is really annoying. I'll definitely encounter bugs and errors that I make through the process, but I hope you guys can enjoy this video. So first thing we have to do is actually we have to create 2 different repositories in GitHub, one for the front end and one for the back end. So I have this repository over here, which is the full stack course, which is where I'm posting the code for this series, but I will actually create 2 more repositories, one for the front end and one for the backend. And the reason why you do this is because we're going to be using those repos to deploy our application. So we need to separate them since we're separating our front end from our backend and uploading them to different services. So I'm going to say full stack client over here. I'm going to make this public. And then in order to set up Heroku to like in your application, you need to go to this website, which is heroku.com, and you need to create an account. I already have an account, so I won't be showing you guys how to create an account. It's pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. And when you create an account, you will see this page over here. Obviously, you won't have all of this websites over here. They are just old apps that I've created. I don't even remember half of them, but this is what you'll probably be seeing this empty. And to create a new application, you just come over here and click on new and create new app. Then this page will show up where you need to put an app name. Now this app name needs to be unique from all the apps that exist in Heroku. So I'm going to be calling this full stack API, I don't know, PedroTech, something like this. And I know that no one else chose this because it has PedroTech in the middle of it. But I guess if I put API, if I remove the PedroTech, someone definitely chose this name before. And then you choose your region. I'm currently in Canada, so I'll choose the United States. But if you're in Europe or anywhere close to Europe, just choose that one as well. Now we can click Create App, and you can see our app has been created. Now they have a really nice documentation or explanation over here to how you can actually deploy this application. And we're going to follow it because I'm going to be honest with you guys, I don't deploy applications every day. So I am indeed going through this process again without knowing completely But if I encounter any bugs, that's amazing, because you guys told me that you guys like when I make mistakes in my videos, because it's different from other YouTubers who just know exactly what to do because they've done it like a couple minutes before the video. So if you encounter any errors, let me know in the comments. I'll help you guys out, and if I encounter any errors, I'll try to help you guys on how to fix it. So I'll just open up a terminal over here inside of my application, and I'll actually move towards my server over here. This is my server, and inside of here I want to be able to run Heroku login, and this will allow us to log into our application. You'll see that I remember that if I run this, it asks us for any keys, so I'll just press enter, and let me see, it should open on our browser, and it's taking a bit, but yeah, it opened up in a browser. We just click login, and if you're logged in, it says logged in right now. You can close this tab. When you close the tab and you go back to your terminal, you can see it says logged in with your email. So that's basically it, right? Now we need to create a new Git repository. So what I want to do is I want to come to my backend over here. I'm just going to say git init, and then I'm going to run Heroku git remote add this command over here, right? It's just a command so we can create a repository to Heroku. And you can see it's going to run a lot of things. I think that's fine. And then we need to deploy our application to Heroku. So it's very simple, as you can see. I'm going to just come over here and say git add dot like this. Then I guess git commit -am instead of -m, which is the normal way. So I'm going to say git commit -am, and then just a message saying first commit, and when we push this, it should push everything, and at the end we just push Heroku master. It's a bit different from normal when you're pushing normal code to like GitHub, but you'll get used to it. So I'll just push to Heroku like this, and if there's any mistakes, we'll see in the process. So it should be working. You can see it should be pushing everything, and when it finishes pushing, I'll be back. Okay, so as you can see, it appears that our API has finished pushing, and if we come here to our actual application, we can click now on Open App, and it should be working, but there's a big chance that it will actually give us some errors, because this always happens when I deploy to Heroku for the first time. It might take a while to connect, but I'll be back when it actually opens up the app. Okay guys, so I'm back here, and you can see that we have here our API running in this link over here, in this URL over here. And the reason why we know it's running is because it says cannot get slash, which means it's working. If it wasn't working, then we would have seen a message saying Heroku failed to deploy, something like that. And it's been 2 days since I made the previous part of this video, because I ran into a lot of problems while deploying this application. And again, I want to emphasize that deploying is annoying. It's very annoying, and you will run into many problems. Like I just ran into problems. I've done this a lot of times, but I always forget something or do something a little bit different that I shouldn't have done. So I just fixed all the errors, and I want to go over each error so you guys can try to debug on your own as well. If you encounter any issues, just search online or comment down below, because I'll be helping everyone, because I know how annoying it is to to actually deploy and run into some issues. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to Visual Studio Code, and I'm going to show you guys the first change that I made. So the first thing I made was I basically downloaded .env. This is a package that is important for you to have in your project, because you will need environment variables to make this work. And the reason for that is because over here you can already see we made some major changes to this bottom part of the index.js in our server. We first of all, actually this isn't necessary, let me just remove this. We first of all came over here and we put that our port isn't 3001 alone anymore. It's actually now process.env.port or 3001. And what this means is 3001 is great and it works for our local host, but the port for our server in Heroku, we don't know, right? Heroku determines that. So what they do is you need to download .env as a package and just process this environment variable called port like this in order for this to work. And the reason why I put this or like signs over here is because I'm just saying that if I want to run this locally, I also want to determine that I want to run on port 3001 locally. So this is kind of the idea. This over here will tell Heroku to run on their port if we deploy, and this over here will run in our port if we're running locally. And then I want to catch any errors that happens with Sequelize, so I just added dot catch and just console log the error if anything happens, because there might be some issues with Sequelize and we're going to fix it in a bit. Then a very important issue is the fact that before we were using a package called Bcrypt, and I've never had issues with Bcrypt in the past, especially deploying to Heroku, so I don't understand why this happened, but apparently the version that we installed might have some issues. So what I did to fix this is I just installed another package which is the same as Bcrypt, and I'll come here to users.js, which is where we use Bcrypt. And what I want you guys to do is install Bcrypt.js instead of Bcrypt. So I just uninstalled. If you come to package.json, you'll see I uninstalled Bcrypt and I installed Bcrypt.js, and that's literally it. I would just come over here and say something like npm uninstall Bcrypt, and then just install the Bcrypt.js package. All of the other stuff, it remains the same. This will fix the error because Bcrypt wasn't compatible with Heroku. And then the very important thing here in the package.json, we previously were using this start script as a Node1 script like this, because we wanted to run Node1 locally as a dev dependency. But what happens is Node1 won't work. It only works in development. And if you want, you can create another script. This is something that you can do. Many people do it like this. You create a start script called dev start, which basically it's just used whenever you want to run stuff locally, and then have the start script as the one which actually runs your application when you deploy. But the important thing is you need to have a start script with the command node index.js, because this is what Heroku will run when you deploy your application. So I'm gonna keep both of them, because if I want to run our application locally again, I just run npm dev start, and if Heroku wants to run our application in a deployed version, they just run npm start. So this is another change that we had to do, and now it should be working. The thing is, the final thing that we actually have to fix is the fact that, think about it this way, we just deployed an API, but all of our database calls are being made to our local database, which doesn't make any sense, right? Because like it's locally in our computer. It will only work if we are in our computer, and when you deploy, it shouldn't be working. So what we have to do is we actually have to create a database in Heroku, a MySQL database in Heroku, and put the details inside of our config.json. And why are we doing this? Because in our config.json, we have here our beautiful JSON, which basically determines all the information in regards to our connection to our database. And previously, this is what we put, right? For development, we want to have a database which is of username and root. The database name is TuturoDB. This is the database that we used the whole series. However, since we're deploying, we need to actually now put something over here, which is the information for the actual database, for the actual the actual database that we are deploying. I don't really care if you guys see my information, my database information, but I would definitely recommend you guys to not share your the information in regards to the connection of your database. But I'm gonna just show you guys over here. Maybe after the video is uploaded, I'll just delete everything, even like take this website out of production, just because I don't want you guys to, I don't know, use the website and just fill the database with something with a lot of data. But I'm going to show you guys how you can actually create a database online in Heroku and put the connection information over here. So if we come here to Heroku, you'll see that we are here, right? It's all working. I need to log in again because it's actually been a while since I logged in. And what we need to do is we need to actually install a package. I think it's in resources. Yeah, it's in resources. It's an add-on to Heroku, which allows us to have MySQL database. I'll just search MySQL, and you can see that the one we're using is ClearDB because it has a free tier. When I click on this, you'll see that it has all these different tiers, and I've only used the free tier for ClearDB, so I would choose this one. Now keep in mind that maybe you will be asked to put a credit card. I remember I was like 1 or 2 years ago when I did this the first time, and I put it. No, there was never a charge. The reason why they do it is because there are some add-ons that are paid. The only thing you need to do is you just don't choose the paid one. Just choose the free one. They never charge you anything, and it always works perfectly. So I'm just gonna click submit order form, and we're gonna buy the not buy. We're gonna install the free ClearDB database in our application. Now, this is running completely. This is working, and we need to only get the only thing we need is we need to get the connection information for this database. So we can click on this, and you'll see that there's a bunch of information we're brought to this ClearDB website, and there's a how to connect over here. Let me just make sure where can we get the information. Oh, okay, guys. So I just remembered how we actually find the connection information. And the way we do this is we actually don't do it over here. I will just close the ClearDB website that opened. And actually, when you install this inside of your Heroku application, it already inputs all the information here in the settings tab. So you come over here and you can see that there's something called config vars. And this is kind of like whenever you have a .env, like an environment variable in your application, you need to put them over here so Heroku knows that they are an environment variable. The only two that we'll have is probably, actually we'll only have one, which is the ClearDB database URL. And this over here is all the information we need to actually connect to our database. It will all be put in a single URL over here, and I'll show you guys how to decode this. I'll just copy this whole link over here, and let me just close this, and let's go to our page over here, and I'll just paste it down the bottom so we can all see what exactly is this. Okay, so you can see there's this huge URL over here, and it is divided in some parts. We just need to get those parts and put it over here. From what I know, the first part we need the host, right? And the host is this over here. After the @ symbol, it is this part over here. For me, it's called US CDBR East 03 cleardb.com. And I'll just copy this and I'll put it inside of the host over here, like this. And let me just delete this part. Actually, no, I'll just keep it like over here. And now the next thing we need is the database name. It's this part over here, and the database name is this last part of the URL over here before the reconnect equal to true, and I'll just paste it over here inside of the database, and it needs to be in production so that Heroku knows that this is the actual database that you're connecting. And then we have the user and the password. So the user and the password are these two things over here. They're divided by a colon, as you can see over here. I would say that to recognize which one is which is the smallest one is the password. So this over here, the first part is the username. So I'll just paste it over here. And this part over here is the password. So I'll just paste it over here. And then the dialect is MySQL. We're using MySQL for this project, so I'll just keep it as MySQL. And I'll delete this over here. Now, I would recommend for you guys to use env variables for this, environment variables. I can make a video on this if you guys want to. We didn't use much of environment variables in this series. I don't even think we did at all. But I'm just showing the information again because I don't really care if you guys see it. I want you guys to see everything so you guys can understand what's happening. And I'll probably just delete this database right after the video is uploaded. So now that we have this done, we have to deploy all of our changes, all of our fixes to Heroku. So we'll just come here to the server terminal, and we'll just say git add dot, then git commit -am, and then we'll say something like fix all bugs, and then we're gonna push everything to Heroku in the master branch. So git push Heroku master. This is how we're gonna push everything to Heroku. And when it finishes pushing, I'll be back. But our server should be running. This over here is actually not running right now. I know it says it's running, but I just did it for a while. When it finishes deploying, it's gonna be running completely, and you guys will be able to see exactly what I mean. Now you can see that this is working, and but one thing that you guys will notice immediately is the fact that, for example, if I went to a route in an application, such as, for example, the post route. And we try to get a post by ID, right? We've created in our database a post with ID 1. That's something we've did. However, if I try to go to /posts slash by ID slash 1, which is the post with ID 1, you'll see it will return nothing. It says that it works, meaning that it recognizes that this is a route, but it doesn't return the post with ID 1. And the reason for that is because we now connected to a new database, and that database may not even have the tables that we like, the tables that we created in our local database. So we need to change that. We need to create those tables into the new database that we just created that is hosted in Heroku, so that it will work for our application, right? Also, the data that we put in our database tables previously in the series will not be in the new one. The new one will be completely empty, and that's kind of good, right? It's going to be the database for production. Now, how do we make that work? Well, the first thing we need to do is I'm going to open up MySQL Workbench, and I want to see that database. So I want to implement a connection between my MySQL Workbench to the database that we have in our application. So I'm going to click here on plus, and you can see that we can call this whatever we want. We're setting up a new connection. I'm going to call this tutorial Heroku DB, something like this. And then we just need to put the connection information over here. Now we saved this connection information in our config file over here. So it is the same thing, right? For username, if it asks for username, you should put this. It does. So I'll just put this. Then let me see, for the password, we should put the same thing. I need to click on store and keychain, at least in a MacBook. If you have a Windows, you just put a password differently, but I'm going to put the password over here and click OK. Then we need to determine a host name, which is the host. So I'm just going to copy this whole thing over here and just paste it over here. And then finally the port, which is, let me see. Actually, we don't need to put the port. We'll just put the database, which is this part over here, as the default schema over here. And then when we click OK, actually, well, let's just test the connection. I'll click test connection, and I just need to put the password, which we just grabbed, which is this one over here. So I'll just grab this, paste it over here. When we click OK, it said successfully made MySQL connection, meaning it recognized everything that we've created so far, and it just means that we've successfully connected to the one that we were hosting in Heroku. So I'll click OK, and you can see that now we have this connection over here. Instead of going to the local instance connection, we'll go to this one that we just created, and it will open up, which is amazing. And you'll see immediately that we have a new system over here without anything. It has the database that we implemented, this one over here, but it has 0 tables. Actually, no, it has tables. And you know why it has tables? I just realized we didn't have to create tables on our own. And the reason why it has tables is because Sequelize already does that. And when we deploy this application, it automatically created the tables. So this is great. We have all of our tables already made here in our public database with everything done perfectly, right? So this is good. Technically now, I think that it should be working. For example, we won't be able to really test it right now because, we can do it if we open up Insomnia, but I don't really care that much about it. Let's just try to host now our front end so that we can actually see our application working perfectly in a website, and then connect our front end to the backend that is now deployed to this URL over here. So to deploy the front end, I'm going to come over here and I'm just going to open up Netlify. Netlify, I've made tutorials in the past on how to deploy things to Netlify, and it's amazing. I love it. So after you create an account, I'm not going to show you guys how to create an account, but just create an account, and I'll show you guys exactly what you have to do. So you can see right here that we have a new site from Git. We were going to click on this. However, you can see it gives us an option saying continuous deployment. What I'm going to teach you guys is basically how to deploy such that whenever you want to make changes to your website, you're going to just push the code to a GitHub repo, which automatically will trigger a redeploy to the website so that the changes will appear almost immediately. So this is what continuous deployment means. And we can choose any sort of service Git provider that exists. Obviously, we're going to be using GitHub. And one thing that is important is that you need to connect to your own GitHub. You need to allow Netlify to connect your GitHub account, which is completely secure. Netlify is one of the most commonly used services out there, so I definitely recommend you just allowing you to do so. And you'll see that all your repos will appear over here, and even your private ones. So I don't really care if you guys see my private repos. My GitHub account is opened, so if you guys want to see it, just follow me on GitHub. But yeah, that's the idea. However, you can see immediately that there are no like we need to choose the repo that we want to deploy. So in theory, the repo that we want to deploy is the full stack client, right? It's this one over here, which we created in the beginning of the video, but it says we couldn't access the repository because it is empty or disabled. So I actually didn't know this, but we need to push our code to the repository first. So I'm gonna open up GitHub over here, and let's actually just open up our newest repo. So I'm gonna come here to repositories, and let's choose full stack client, and let's just follow these instructions to deploy our application. I'm gonna open up my terminal over here, and I'm gonna navigate towards the client folder. So cd client, I actually wrote this wrong, cd client. Now we're in our client folder, so we just want to deploy our client. So I'm just gonna copy git init, paste it over here. Then we need to commit or add our first changes or whatever we want to do. So what I actually want to do is I want to just do it like this. I want to say git add dot, then git commit -m, and I'm going to say something like first commit to this repo. Then we just added every single thing that we made in our frontend to this repository. And what we want to do is we want to add this command, which is git branch main, because we're using the main branch for this. And then now we are inside of we created this main branch, and we want to add remote add this repository to the one that we initialized in our local computer. And now all we have to do is we need to push our code to the main branch. So we just copy this command and paste it, and you can see it's pushing all the code to our main branch. So if we refresh our page over here, all our code should be here, but it should only be the code for the front end, not the backend. If you deployed the backend as well, you need to remove that or create a new repository and just deploy the front end. You should see that this is what you're seeing, right? So now that we've done this, we can now come over here and choose the full stack client again, the repository, and you can see that it'll allow us to do that. And you need to choose the branch you want to deploy. Again, we deployed to Git in a main branch, so it is important that we set up so that this is what we're actually deploying. Now, this is extremely important because it is a point where a lot of people get get errors or get bugs, and I want you guys to follow this exactly how I do it. So the first thing you need to do is you need to enter your build command. What is a build command? So it's just a command that will be run to create a build version of your application. And normally it's just npm build or yarn build. In our case, we're using npm, and you can check to see if it's how it actually is by going to your package.json in your client folder and seeing that it is indeed npm build, as you can see over here. So in my case, for Netlify, usually I use yarn, so that's why it automatically put yarn, but I need to change this to npm. If you have npm automatically, just leave it like that, but I need to do it like this. And then one thing that for some reason you have to do with Netlify, and if you don't, probably you'll get some errors, is you need to add a CI equal sign over here. Now, I've had so many issues with this in the past. Not putting this command just caused me a lot of headaches, and I know a lot of people relate to that. I have a video specifically on how to deploy a React application to Netlify, so if you want to check that out, I'm going to just show the same things that I'm showing right here, but you need to put this command or else it won't work. And then just leave it as the public or the build directory like this, and just click deploy website. So when you click this, it's going to start a deployment process, and you need to wait for it to be done. Okay everyone, so as you can see, the build was successful. However, I actually had some bugs, which I was able to fix it, and I'll show you guys what I did to fix. So basically, in the previous segment, we came here to deploy settings, and in our build command, we had CI equal to npm build. I completely just forgot to put the run. So if you didn't do that, just come to deploy settings, then on build settings, click on add settings, and just change this to be exactly how it's written over here. It has to be npm run build, and I guess if it's in yarn, you should run yarn run build as well instead of npm, or just yarn build. I'm not really sure, but this is kind of the idea. I forgot to put the run, so if you put it like this, it's gonna work. And when you save that and you trigger or redeploy, and the way you trigger or redeploy is you come here to deploys, and you just click on trigger deploy right here at the right, and click on deploy site, and this will trigger a new deploy with the changes that you made. When this is all done, you'll see that your app is now live. When I click on this link, you'll see that it will open up my app, and now I'm finally here, which is beautiful. I can log in and I can register to my application. I'm gonna create an account over here. Let's create PedroTech just to see if everything is working. If you recall, I need to actually, I'll not run this. Currently we have 0 users in our table. I actually have to put the password for this. So let me just open up the config file so I can actually see the password, because I always forget. It's this over here. And let me save this. Actually, no, I'll just not save it. When I click OK, I want to query this. You'll see that our data, we have no users here. But if we add PedroTech and I want to register, I want to put my password as password. When I click register, let's see if it worked. Let's refresh this. And obviously it didn't. And I'll explain to you guys exactly why it didn't. We forgot to do something really essential when you're converting from a development environment to a production environment, which is right now we're making API calls in the front end to the local host, and this is something that a lot of people forget. In our client over here, for example, let's open the app.js maybe. Yeah, in the app.js, you see we're making an API request to the local host 3001, which isn't the endpoint that we want to make the API call anymore, because we're running this in production. What we want to replace this whole thing over here until the routes is with the API that we deployed, which is this over here. Let me just delete this. This link over here is exactly what we need. So I'm gonna copy this, and I'm just gonna paste it inside of our, every API call that we make, we need to replace it with this. So this is gonna take a bit. I'm gonna go through each of the pages over here, like the change password. Just put it over here. I'm going through each one of them, and I'll be back in a second when I'm done changing every single endpoint in our application. Before we actually do this and click on this application, I just realized I did a small mistake, and I'm sorry about that. But basically, I realized that all the actual URLs that I put were HTTP for our API. Well, it shouldn't. It should be HTTPS. So I recommend changing them again. Your API URL should be HTTPS because Netlify is HTTPS, and it won't make a connection if one is HTTP and the other is not secure. So I'll change everything that is HTTP to HTTPS, and you can do that very easily by going on the search tab here in VS Code and just putting whatever you had before, which was the link with HTTP, and changing it to the link with HTTPS, and then just pressing this button over here that I already did, but if you want, you do that, and then you just follow the process again where you just add something to Git, then you commit the changes, and then you push your changes. I just did that, so I recommend you doing that too. And when this is done, you'll see that we'll have to build again. So you see it's processing, and I'll be back in a second when this build process is done. Okay guys, so I just clicked on the link over here because it is done. You just click on this link and we can see the website is over here. I'm gonna try and create an account with PedroTech and put the password as password. Let's click register and let's see our database to see if it's working. I guess it'll ask me for the password again, so I just need to come over here and open up the config file, grab the password and put that in, and let's see if it works. Let's just wait for a second, and yes, you can see we registered a user called PedroTech over here in our database, so it means the connection is working perfectly. I thought we implemented redirect from the registration to the login, but we didn't. But I know we did on the login, which is great. So I'm just gonna log in over here with PedroTech. Put a password, click login, and you can see we are over here. Obviously, we don't see anything in the page because the database was wiped clean, so we don't have any posts. So let's just add something like this. I'll put a thank you post. Thank you for watching the series. Something like this. And when I create post, you see the post is over here. I can like it. So it's working perfectly. This is exactly what we wanted. I'll just put some random ones as well. You can see the front end is working with the back end. We can, everything is working perfectly. We can add comments, as you can see, and I can delete them if I'm PedroTech. if I'm the person who added the comment, and I can also delete posts. Everything is working perfectly, and yeah, that's great. I'm really happy that everything worked out at the end, because I hate deploying applications. And if you encountered any bugs, just leave a comment down below, because I'll be helping everyone out, because I know how hard it is and how easy it is for you to find bugs. So let me know if you have any questions. And yeah, that's basically it. I'll leave the link to Netlify, to the code base, and to Heroku in the description if you want to check it out. This is the final episode, so I won't be posting any more episodes in the series. But yeah, that's basically it. Really hope you guys enjoy this video and the series, and I see you guys next time.